like mainly what I'm trying to do with the Bandsment talks is that I'm trying to dig into the backstage life of artists, and I'm very interested in the DIY approach that nowadays the artists have. And that is why it was so interesting for me to talk to you, because I mean, you are an artist who is self-promoting, and you're not touring. So my first question is, how does your musical project function? Meaning, do you do everything on your own, or do you have a team who helps you with everything? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so on the music side of things, I'm in charge of the songwriting, all the lyrics, all the vocals. I do a lot of the keyboards, some of the orchestration, and then on the music side, I work really closely with a producer, and we do all the pre-production. So he will add all the, temporary guitars, drums, all that stuff. And I work with Oliver Phillips, and he's in Germany. And so he actually is an orchestrator by trade. So that's what he does. So he does quite a lot in that department. And then from there, it goes to, I just hire session musicians because I'm a solo artist and I don't tour. So that's one, there's pros and cons to doing that. But for me, it's fun because I can work with so many different people, and it's just a really fun experience to be able to have something so wide open for each album, and like anything is possible. So that's on the music side of things. On the business side of things, I do quite a bit, and then I have a full-time assistant that, I don't need too much more than that. And then I also have had someone running my ads as well when I got really busy with some of my other businesses, just because it was, I only have so many hours in a day. So yeah, at most I've had a team of about 3, just essentially running all my basic funnels and everything. And then that's pretty much it.
I see, I see. So when it comes to, I don't know, merch and everything, like you and your assistant, you cover pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, and there's just so much that you can do with e-commerce. The e-commerce is like a big thing for me. I really love sinking my teeth into that. I did that with a totally separate physical brand in 2020. It's my sister brand. I don't know if you looked into it at all, Mythology Candles. So that is a real physical product outside of what I do for music. So it's a sister brand. They obviously go together, but it's a standalone brand. So that's totally separate thing though, totally separate business. We have a much larger team for that. Like we hand pour everything. But on the music side, the merchandise and the music is a lot more simple. And, I use a lot of print on demand, a lot of things like that. So I don't actually have to hold a lot of inventory myself, which is just really frees me up to do a lot, focus on the music and other things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I see. So what is like the next question? I think that is very relevant, because nowadays touring is not possible, and you're not a touring artist. So like nowadays, all the musicians are struggling with what is happening. So can you tell me if if like music promotion is possible without touring, and if the growth of the artist is possible without touring, based on your experience?
Absolutely. So that's been my bread and butter since the beginning, since I launched my first album in 2012. I've never toured. I've never stepped foot on stage since I've been started this career. I've done live performance before, and I love it. But just when I released my album in 2012, I was already settled down. I had little children, like little babies. I have 5 kids, if some people don't know. And so I was really committed to that. And it wasn't practical for me to get on a tour bus. It wasn't practical for me to tour. I even had some labels interested in me, but they totally, once they found out I wasn't going to tour, they just were like, forget it, we're not going to work with you. So I was stuck trying to figure out, well, I really feel passionate that my music should be heard. I know that there's people out there who need to hear me, but they have no clue I even exist. So what can I do with the internet? What can I do? And it wasn't really until I stopped studying the music industry, I stopped studying the music business, that was absolutely not helping me at all. And I started studying online marketing and online businesses who were succeeding. That's when everything really changed for me. And later on, so I had ended up having some success with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was more success. And then, you know, it was a 6-figure income. And then after that, I started my academy, Savvy Musician Academy, teaching musicians how to market their music online without a label and without touring if they don't want to. So that's really been my bread and butter. I believe wholeheartedly that you can do that. And I think now's never been a better time. You're forced to think this way now because touring is off the table. So what else are you going to do? Time to brush up on the skills.
Yeah, true. I think that the main problem of a lot of people, like a lot of musicians right now, is that they struggle to adapt to the situation that is happening. And I know that a lot of people have been thinking, okay, it's only for a couple of months, and they were just sitting and doing nothing. And that was like the main problem. Like, because still 1 year after, we're still not touring, and a lot of tours have been postponed to 2022.
Right.
So yes, people just have to do something.
Absolutely. And it's just the perfect time to really focus in on, you know, some core concepts that I didn't know I was doing it at first, but now I have, you know, put it into a program, you know, steps to follow, like finding your niche, going really deep into that instead of trying to appeal to everybody. Now's the time where people want something really specific. You know, what's your twist? What do you do that's different? And you guys do that with your band. You have this whole twist to it, which I love, and it makes it very different from what everybody else is doing in,
Thank
you know,
you.
the symphonic metal genre or whatever. So finding your niche, and then creating a culture around that niche. So really finding what common interests, what common beliefs, worldview, just even sense of humor do people have in common that you can kind of connect the dots between that and your niche. That is actually very, very powerful. So in my music, with the fantasy Celtic inspired stuff, it's all about, you know, history and castles and King Arthur and just the fantasy world of things, Lord of the Rings and all of that. And when you create that commonality and you create those bonds, you turn regular fans into super fans. And then those super fans are willing to support you in like every way they possibly can. And, you know, so I call those collector fans as well, because they want to collect every single thing you have. They want every EP, every vinyl. Doesn't matter if it's the same vinyl in 5 different colors, they got to have them all. And you know what I'm talking about. So the way you do that is you're not going to do that by being super broad. You have to go really specific, niche down. And so I'm just all about the niche marketing. So that's what I focused on, and it's worked really well.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I noticed, like you don't really do frequent posts on social media, and as far as I see, you don't do much, press coverage, so to say. So as far as I understand, you mostly do advertising, right? And just focusing on the target audience and just bombing them with ads, right?
Yeah, well, I would say in 2020, I totally actually took a break from my music career to focus on mythology because I knew how much potential that had. So normally I actually do post quite a bit more when I'm more active on my music career. But if you get to know me, and people who follow me know that I say this a lot, you have to work in seasons and you have to be intentional about what season you're in. So when I'm in a season of trying to, build more the socials, which quite frankly, I really think that a lot of that is vanity metrics, because I could see, first of all, you can buy followers. So that doesn't really say much for anything, right? I would much rather know what is the size of someone's email list than what is the size of their Instagram following. That's much more powerful in terms of driving revenue. So yes, I spend most of my ad spend is on building my email list. That's where the bulk of anybody's advertising budget should really go toward, in terms of building something that's a true asset that you can monetize over and over and over again. So that's what we do in all of our businesses. So in the academy, in my music business, in mythology, that's where a lot of our ad spend goes, is just build the list. So, in the marketing world, you have this background. We're calling them leads. In my music business, they're potential fans. They may not be ready to buy my music yet, but they're a potential fan, and we're going to build a relationship.
Yeah, I can totally understand. We also have like this newsletter thing, and I have emails of people who bought like our first CDs that we ever released, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, like, last year we transitioned to Shopify platform for our
Nice.
website,
Awesome.
and I mean, I was so thrilled to have all these, you know, automated emails, and I don't know, it just made such a huge difference. And when I see, you know, the band websites whose shopping experience is just awful, I don't understand. Like, and then they're asking
Mm-hmm.
why the sales are not happening. And
Oh yeah.
all right, okay. If you can't do it, then find someone who can do it for you. I mean, there are so
Yeah.
many specialists out there. And let's talk a bit about your academy and why did you decide to make it? And also, like, my specific question would be, you have quite a few products out there, and are they suitable for all the music genres, or are they mostly, you know, for maybe studio artists, or I don't know, maybe genre wise? Can you tell me?
Sure. Yeah, I started the Academy in very late 2015. It really took off in 2016. And quite frankly, I had no idea that it was going to take off the way it did. I was just simply looking to add another income stream. I thought, I first started with a little ebook talking about some of the success I had had as the stay-at-home mom of 5 kids who wasn't touring and doing pretty good in my music business. So it started as an ebook. And as I studied more and more about online marketing, I realized that, it'd be much more valuable in a video format. And so that's when it turned into like a video course, like self-paced courses. And we released that. We still to this day, like, it's our flagship product called the Online Musician. And the whole idea was like how to build this online brand for your music and tour if you want to don't tour, but this is going to be how you really launch your music and how you reach thousands of people around the world even when you're sleeping. And
Mm-hmm.
so that became the flagship product. It blew up, like, and I mean, I want to say it was partially market timing and partially because I was offering a solution that nobody else was. And because everybody is, they're focusing on publishing and big time on touring, and they're focusing on so many of the other aspects. And I was only one really covering like how to build a brand online, a real brand. And really, if you took any of these principles and you put it into a different business, you would succeed because they're timeless principles. They're not, quick little tactical things that, trendy things that don't matter anymore next week. So that just really took off. Now, in terms of like who it serves the most, well, we see a lot of different things. Even industry people are taking our courses as well, like people who have clients and such. We have many producers and things like that as well, because they're using the principles as well. They don't tour, but they have to have a niche. They have to be known for something that they're good at. Like, what do you want to be known for, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want a certain sound, you go to a certain producer because they're known for that. So it's very transferable. But we do see a lot of solo artists. We see a lot of people who do a lot of things themselves. And we of course have bands and such in there as well, but usually there's like one band member that is really taking on this online marketing side of things. And that can be maybe more tricky in their position because they're having to delegate and also teach them. But we have a variety of things. And in terms of genre, it's totally all over the map. We have every single genre in there imaginable. And I mean, there's genres in there I've never heard of in my life. So, they're really getting into their niche. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that was a thing. Um, I mean, even many instrumentalists are doing very well. Like some of the best, they're actually doing phenomenal, which was a shock to me. I wasn't expecting that. So really cool just to see the variety of people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, I see. And if we get back to the question of social media and content and everything, what I also hear from a lot of people and artists is that the problem what to post when nothing is happening, mostly if there is no tour happening, because when you're touring, you have a lot of things like backstage, live videos, a lot of other stuff. What can you advise, where to get this inspiration, what to post, how often to post, or maybe where, how can they come to, how do they find their content strategies, so to say?
Yeah, so I'm definitely more focused on wanting to build an email list in terms of, building an asset that you can turn into revenue. Now, social media is definitely necessary. You want to have a presence. I just know from experience of building multiple businesses now where the money is, and the money's in the email list. But you do have to be on social. I think it's really useful. You want to create a culture and a community. You want to do part of that there. In terms of what the content is, I can give you a really easy formula that you can definitely use without touring at all. And I just call it the 3 Ps. So they're categories, right? So there's personal, professional, and promotional. And I just split it up, 30, 30, 30. So in the personal category, you might have, it's going to be really personal things like what you had for breakfast, your cat, what's going on with, I don't know, like what exercise program you're doing right now, your health and fitness, like more like the personal interests that you have. So that's in the personal category. You just make a big list of those, just everything you can think of. You just do a brainstorm. And in the professional category, that's going to be more about like your songwriting, studio, home studio, anything to do with like making the music. That could even count as doing a live stream of you playing an acoustic set in your living room. It could be anything like that. And then promotional is obvious, right? So you're going to promote a percentage of the time to do something, some kind of call to action where it's like join your email list, or we're running a sale, or there's a new merch item that just dropped, or anything like that. So when you have those 3 categories and you have a bit of a framework to work with, it really makes it suddenly very doable. And so I just like to spread it out. I want to see people posting in the professional category, in the promotional category, at least 10% of the time, 10 to 20% of the time. You can split it up. But the biggest mistake I see is that people never do that. They just don't promote at all. So musicians are very sensitive to, they're very averse to selling. They really don't like selling at all. And I think that's one thing that I'm really good at helping them overcome, is like learning how to sell and feel good about it.
Yeah, I think that is a huge problem, because I remember I also launched my Patreon page, and like it's a Patreon page for the band as well 2 years ago, and a lot of like fellow artists were saying that it's so strange to ask for money, from your fan base and everything. But last year, because of the pandemic, so many metal musicians kicked off their Patreon pages. And like by the time I was already, a veteran of that, and okay, so finally you're understanding what is happening, because it's not only about like the income, it's also about getting your fans engaged and being in contact with them. And if you can offer something extra to them, it's all right.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I understand the musicians are really very not prepared to sell their music, but at the same time they always cry that nothing is selling.
Right.
Yes. And another question is, it is actually also about social media, but I just wanted to ask your opinion. I saw that you're also on Clubhouse, the new social network. And I just wanted to ask, like, if you're going to do something with it, and have you looked into it?
Yeah, I've spent some time on it. It's one of those new trendy things, and I'm torn on it right now. I spent a few days listening in, but I don't think I've really found like my purpose on it yet. Like you have to decide when you're on a platform, what are you using this for? I just believe in being intentional, and I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. Am I going to like, which business do I, try to network on behalf of? Am I, networking for the music side of things, the academy? I'm launching another side course business that just helps more product-based e-commerce businesses, just like teaching them business and market research and all that. Like, so I haven't gotten that far to decide what I'm going to use that platform for. Some of it, I don't know. I've had thoughts where I think it's a bit of a waste of time. Like it'll suck up all your time in a day if you get too involved in it. So I'm not sure yet. I'll have to come back to that one.
Yeah, I see. Because like I've been there like for the past couple of days, and it's both exciting and interesting, but it takes all of your time. And there is something like about fear of missing out if you're
Mm,
not
yeah.
in the room, or if you join too late, or if you were too afraid to join as a speaker. So I mean, it brings so much stress, but still I'm just interested how it's
Hmm.
going to evolve, you know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah. And I've got two more questions. One of them is, what are your plans music wise, like in the nearest time? Because you said that you took some time off, but are you
Hmm.
going to come back and maybe release some new music and everything?
Yeah, so I've given myself the rest of this year is really just going to be focused on writing. And so I haven't really officially announced this yet, but I am starting some pre-production on some songs. I've had a little bit of a writing streak lately, so I'm just going to go with it. But it's just a smaller percentage of my time during the week where I'm able to focus on that. So usually with the weekends, like Saturdays and Sundays, I just focus on writing because the rest of the week I'm working on my other businesses. So I have to time block. I get asked that question a lot, like, how do you do it? And I have to block my time, and that's the only way I can do it. And sometimes, with inspiration, it comes at very inconvenient times, and I just have to go with it. Even if it means I don't sleep that night, I'll just go with it. But typically I'm doing that on the weekend. So I am writing, and I definitely foresee music in the future. I don't plan on releasing it in 2021 though, because there's a lot going on in the other businesses right now, and they're all exciting things. So I have to just like pace myself.
I see. Well, actually, another question that I had, it's quite relatable. I mean, I'm also being asked how to dig into music marketing and, stay creative at the same time, because I also find it really hard, because when I'm trying to, learn more about Facebook ads or making a content plan or anything, I don't have any more inspiration,
Mm.
left. So how do you
Well, I
manage
think it's
this?
yeah, I think it's a bit of mindset there because, in my opinion, musicians, creative people, they can make some of the best marketers on the face of the planet if they just embraced it. Because we, our brains are off. We often are left and right brained, like we use both sides of our brains at the same time, whereas a lot of other people are only on one or the other. So we have an advantage, and also our ability to think outside of the box makes us very good. Not only that, because we are so in touch with art and just, I don't know how to put it, just even vibes. Like we can walk into a room, we're more sensitive than other people, artistic people. You can walk into a room and you can identify who is like the cloud of doom in the room. Like you can just tell. So because of that, that makes us more empathetic. It makes us more conscious of other people. It makes us think about how we're uh, even just writing copy. So when we write ad copy or like sales letters, things like that, we're going to be more in touch with how things would come across to the end user. That creates a really powerful situation. So I just think it's more a mindset issue. And sometimes we have to learn things that aren't so fun, like, yeah, researching Facebook ads, researching SEO and all the different things. It's not so fun learning it, but you just think about what you're going to accomplish once you understand that knowledge. And I just think that we can actually be some of the best on the planet if you embrace that and think, hey, I can learn anything that I need to learn, and I can embrace my creativity. To me, it's very powerful.
I see. Thank you so much for all the inspiration, all the insights, and everything. I really wish you lots of success with your projects, all of them. And I just wish you strong health, a lot of time, and success. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much. It was
Um,
really, yeah, awesome being here. And I wish the same all for you as well.
Thank you.